Adolf Hitler, a figure whose name is irrevocably etched into the annals of the 20th century, was born on April 20, 1889, in Braunau am Inn, a small town in Upper Austria near the German border. His formative years were marked by a lack of discernible success and a strained relationship with his authoritarian father. After leaving school at 16, he pursued aspirations as an artist, moving to Vienna and later Munich, but his applications to the Academy of Fine Arts were repeatedly rejected. This period of artistic failure and personal hardship coincided with his exposure to prevailing nationalist and anti-Semitic sentiments, which gradually solidified into his core beliefs. The outbreak of World War I in 1914 provided Hitler with a sense of purpose. He volunteered for the Bavarian army, serving as a dispatch runner on the Western Front. He distinguished himself with bravery, earning several medals, including the Iron Cross First Class. However, Germany's defeat in 1918 and the subsequent signing of the Treaty of Versailles left him, and many other Germans, deeply embittered. The treaty imposed harsh reparations, territorial losses, and severe military restrictions, plunging Germany into economic chaos, rampant inflation, and widespread unemployment. This climate of national humiliation and economic despair created fertile ground for extremist ideologies, as people desperately sought a scapegoat and a promise of renewed national pride. It was in this turbulent post-war environment that Hitler found his calling. In 1919, he joined the small German Workers' Party, a fledgling nationalist group. His powerful oratorical skills, combined with his fervent nationalist rhetoric, quickly propelled him to prominence. By 1920, the party was renamed the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or Nazi Party, and Hitler's influence grew exponentially. He capitalized on public discontent, blaming external forces and internal traitors for Germany's woes and promising a return to national strength and glory. In November 1923, Hitler, alongside General Erich Ludendorff, attempted to seize power in Bavaria through a failed coup known as the Beer Hall Putsch. Though the attempt was swiftly crushed and Hitler was imprisoned, he used his trial as a platform to spread his nationalist message, gaining significant public attention. During his 9 months in Landsberg prison, he dictated his autobiographical manifesto, Mein Kampf, My Struggle. This book, outlining his political ideology, racial theories, and future expansionist plans, became the foundational text of the Nazi movement. Throughout the 1920s, despite the initial setback, Hitler meticulously reorganized the Nazi Party, building a formidable political machine. The onset of the Great Depression in 1929 further exacerbated Germany's economic and social crises, leading to unprecedented political instability and a surge in support for extremist parties. The Nazi Party, promising radical solutions and a return to order, saw its electoral fortunes soar. Leveraging the despair and disillusionment of the populace, Hitler pursued power through legal means. On January 30, 1933, he was appointed Chancellor of Germany by President Paul von Hindenburg, a pivotal moment that marked the end of the Weimar Republic. Upon assuming power, Hitler swiftly moved to dismantle democratic institutions and establish a totalitarian dictatorship. He used events like the Reichstag fire as a pretext to suspend civil liberties and consolidate power. Opposition parties were ruthlessly suppressed, trade unions were abolished, and dissenting voices were silenced through intimidation and violence. He quickly solidified his position as Führer leader, asserting absolute control over all aspects of German life. His ideology centered on an aggressive form of nationalism, the pursuit of a strong centralized government, and the expansion of German territory. He initiated a massive rearmament program, directly violating the Treaty of Versailles, and introduced public works projects that significantly reduced unemployment, thus garnering popular support among many Germans. These initial successes, however, were merely steps towards his broader, destructive ambitions. Hitler's foreign policy was driven by the concept of Lebensraum, living space, for the German people, which necessitated territorial expansion in Eastern Europe. This aggressive expansionism ultimately ignited World War II. On September 1, 1939, Germany invaded Poland, prompting declarations of war from Britain and France, and marking the beginning of the most devastating conflict in human history. Under the strategy of Blitzkrieg, lightning war, German forces rapidly conquered vast swaths of Europe, including France, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Norway. However, Hitler's ambitions proved boundless and ultimately led to his downfall. His decision to invade the Soviet Union in June 1941, codenamed Operation Barbarossa, opened up a massive Eastern Front, stretching German resources and manpower. The brutal winter, combined with fierce Soviet resistance, proved to be a turning point. Simultaneously, the Allied powers, the United States, Great Britain, and the Soviet Union, began to mount a coordinated counteroffensive, placing immense pressure on Germany from multiple fronts. By 1945, with Allied forces closing in from the West and Soviet. As the Battle of Berlin raged around his bunker, Adolf Hitler, facing imminent capture, committed suicide on April 30, 1945. His death, just days before Germany's unconditional surrender, marked the final collapse of the Third Reich and the end of World War II in Europe. Adolf Hitler's story stands as a chilling testament to the catastrophic consequences of unchecked power, fanatical nationalism, and the insidious nature of totalitarian rule. His brief but profoundly destructive reign left an indelible scar on history, serving as a perpetual reminder of the vigilance required to safeguard human values, peace, and the fragile nature of freedom.